All right, we got late round Dynasty startup draft sleepers for you today.
That's right.
Okay. These are players from round 10 and onwards that we believe could bring really good value to you in the later rounds of your Dynasty startup drafts. Now,
Absolutely.
big shout out to Smoke, who asked for us basically to do this idea 2 weeks ago. We've already done one version of this video.
Correct.
I'll try and link it here if I remember. And afterwards, we said, does anyone want us to do that again? Because we have a bunch of people that we consider values from round 10 onwards. And the response was, yes, do it again. So here we are. We have 2 players each. Again, these are players that are going round 10 and onwards in startups. I'll start first. Mine is Chuba Hubbard. All right. In our most recent startups, we do mock drafts with the community.
Correct.
So I tried to gather a little bit of information on where he's currently going. He went at the 12.9. In another one, the 14.5. And in a different one, the 14.11. So typically, I would say around round 13, it's safe to say that he's going to be available there.
Okay.
And that's where I'm comfortable taking him. Round 13 feels really, really comfy for me with Chuba Hubbard. I love taking shots on running backs in a Dynasty startup late. I love being that late shot on a running back type
You do.
strategy for Dynasty startups because I really, really want to secure elite young wide receiver and quarterback talents at the early end of my drafts. I would much rather get running backs through rookie drafts or through trades rather than, trying to build up on a position that is so heavily, worked through. They have the shortest lifespan in the NFL. So for me, I like taking shots on running backs later on in drafts. And Chuba seems like a really ideal running back 4 or 5 on my team with that sort of strategy. And I think that there could be value here. Again, you're taking him in the 13th round, so it's not really going to cost you anything to take a shot on Chuba. And I have a couple questions that I've been asking myself. How long is CMC going to be in Carolina?
Right. That's a big question.
How long?
We don't know.
And none of us really know the answer to that. He's on contract until 2025. But there's also an out after this year. I'm not alluding to the fact that they're going to use that out, but it is interesting that it's in the contract, considering how many teams would have used that out with their injured, riddled running backs that they signed big money to, right?
Correct.
More importantly, what I think is a more realistic thing here is the trade market for CMC. We have heard, whether it's Deshaun Watson, whether it's just trading him out of there, we have heard so many different trade rumors for CMC circling around this team for the last 3 months. It feels like maybe even the last year.
Correct.
There's been CMC trade rumors. So if the Panthers fail to get a quarterback, right, doesn't it make sense for both sides to move on? Think about it. If you're CMC and you're sitting in this quarterback purgatory with your team with Darnold, Cam Newton, all these average quarterbacks that they've had, wouldn't you think to yourself, hey, guys, you're obviously not in the window that I want to be in my career. It probably makes sense for you to get value for me and for me to go to a team that I can actually win with. So I'm just kind of predicting the future here and just opening up your mind to the possibility that CMC might not always be a Carolina Panther. All right.
Okay.
The second question is, can CMC even stay healthy? All right. He has missed 23 games in the last 2 seasons. 23 games.
Yeah.
He's only played in 10 of 33 games the past 2 seasons, okay? While we can't predict injury, we have to at least be slightly concerned about his ability to stay healthy going forward. Or what's more likely is his percentage of snaps on the field will probably come down, which means Hubbard might have a little bit more opportunity, right, to continue to show what he can do as a running back. And we've seen flashes from Hubbard as a starter from weeks 4 to 8. He was their starter this year, running back 19. From weeks 14 to 18, he was a starter, running back 29. So 4 touchdowns in those stints. He showed at least competency to be a starting running back in the league. Is he ever going to be CMC? Of course not. But you also have to keep in mind that he was behind the second worst offensive line in the NFL this year. That's according to PFF, okay?
Yeah.
And his quarterback, Sam Darnold, was 31st of 33 eligible quarterbacks in QBR, all right? Keep in mind, he also played with Cam Newton. His QBR was so bad, he didn't even make the list. So all this kind of to being said, there's a possibility Hubbard becomes a starter at some point. I'm not saying it's guaranteed.
Right.
I'm not even saying there's over 50% chance that it happens. But this is the kind of running back that I'm looking to target later on in the draft. Someone who I can see a path to relevancy, someone who I can see their value rising in a couple years from now. Will he ever be Christian McCaffrey? Of course. No, he will never be Christian McCaffrey. Will he ever even be a top 15 running back? No, he won't. But could he potentially become a starter? And could the team potentially improve around him? Yes,
Absolutely.
those are all potential things. So this is the kind of ideal late round running back I like to take a shot on.
Okay. I like Chuba Hubbard. He was a guy I like coming into the league this past year. So it's interesting to see what he's going to do, especially if CMC leaves. My first late round guy that you should target, and it's a deep one, okay? And it's Kenny Golladay. We're going home. And this one's a little bit different because he's an older guy, but hey, why not? Why not take a chance, okay? In our recent mock drafts, he was going around 14, 14.6, 14.2, 15, 11. The only reason he was going there was because I was taking him. Nobody else wanted him. The last 3 mock drafts we did, I took him, okay? Yeah. So it's so funny because I'm pretty sure he would have gone undrafted.
Yeah, he's probably going undrafted.
Going undrafted, or he's going even later in those rounds. So why not take a chance on a guy that has, you can get him as your wide receiver 4 or 5 that has a high end wide receiver 2 potential, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 potential. If he can stay healthy, that's the biggest question. Can he stay healthy? Okay. The only reason why the Giants bought in Kenny Golladay was to give him the workload. I mean, what happened? He was hurt in the preseason. He didn't get anything done with Danny Dimes. Then he gets hurt in the middle of the season. Nothing happens. No connection. It was really hard. Let's remember who was the offensive coordinator, Jason Garrett. It was bad. It was terrible. We the Giants were bad. Okay, now he's gone.
That's what Jason Garrett does on the sideline.
Yeah. Okay, great job, guys. Let's try to go back again and see if we can replicate that. It was annoying. Anyways, he gets hurt. Obviously, 37 receptions on the year, 521 yards, 0 touchdowns. He finished wide receiver 79. That's not happening again. There's no doubt about it. We're not paying a guy so much money, giving him a full-year contract, and say, you know what? No touchdowns. Andrew Thomas has more touchdowns than Kenny Golladay. That's of our lineman. Okay?
Yeah.
He is going to get the workload. Brian Dable comes in. He's going to give him the ball. There's no doubt about it. They're going to do everything possible. They're going to change this. The Giants were, I think, second to last in offensive scoring offense amongst the NFL. It was terrible. Okay, so why not take a chance on Kenny G, a guy that can bring you some high upside later on in the season or whatever the case may be. And he is older, 28-year-old wide receiver, going to be 29 this year. Take a chance on him. He can probably give you 2 to 3 years of value because I do believe they'll probably keep him, and then he'll probably be done after this, to be completely honest. So take a chance on him.
It's so hard, man, with Kenny Golladay. It's once you've seen how bad it can be, it's so hard to
100%
to invest into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it almost feels like a wasted pick. But this late, I agree. Like, these are all potential wasted picks. So someone who I think if you're a win now team, we have at least seen proven production from Kenny Golladay before.
Yeah.
But man, it's difficult. All right. My last startup steal is Calvin Ridley. All right. We don't have a ton of data on this just yet after the suspension as far as his ADP. I wish we had more, but all I can speak to is the mocks that we've done. And in the most recent mock that we did, he went at the end of the 12th round. Okay, so almost 13th round. And this likely will even out. I think we more see him towards round 11, maybe round 10, 11. So that will even out at some point. But I really love the risk reward here. All right, I'm comfortable taking him as high as round 11 onwards. And the reason, I mean, look, you're spending nothing to get Calvin Ridley at this point of the draft. At this point in the draft, most of the people that you're drafting, let's think about this for a second. Most of the people that you're drafting, there's a higher percentage that they will never start on your team than they will. Okay? There's a higher percentage that none of them ever become starters for your dynasty team.
Correct.
But what do we know about Ridley? We've already seen it. We already have proven production, years of proven production to show that he can be an efficient, productive wide receiver in the NFL. In 2020, wide receiver 5 on the year, 90 receptions, almost 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns. In 2018, 10 touchdowns as a rookie. In 2019, 7 touchdowns. Again, most players that you're drafting round 10 onwards, you are absolutely dreaming that they have a season like Calvin Ridley has already had multiple times, right? So I think that, yes, the betting it's not good. You don't want to see that. Was the suspension a little too harsh? Probably.
Yes.
But they had to they had to make a statement, I guess.
Yeah.
But think about it. In the 10th round onwards, if you're looking for a player that you can almost guarantee his value will be higher in 1 year from now, that's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
It will take patience because there's no questions about if he's going to play this year. He won't. It's not going to happen. But he's 27 years old. He'll be 28 next year, and he will find a new home. Probably won't be in Atlanta, but some team, based off of the production in the past, there's going to be a need. There's always need for wide receivers. Every year we see guys who are free agents who get big money and they don't fill that void. Calvin Ridley will be a sought-after commodity next offseason, especially if you're a win-now team.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Agreed.
the best stash for this entire year that you could have, right? I'm not saying that he's ever going to finish top 5. Let's be realistic. That's probably never going to happen again. But you could be looking at a flex option, a guy who's a top 20 wide receiver when he plays, when he's back on the field. So to me, I'm looking at the, round 10 onwards. I'm thinking, who's got great value here? Who can I almost guarantee is going to be more valuable in 1 year from now? And I feel like Calvin Ridley, if he continues to go this late, he becomes a really good value at that point.
Okay. Yeah, I like Calvin Ridley. It's a bit of a risk. It's really hard with the whole Calvin Ridley scenario. It also depends on where he's going to get signed, or if he does get signed, which I do believe he will get picked up by a team after this whole suspension. So it's going to be very, very interesting. My late round sleeper is going to be Roberto Woods. Okay. And look, Bobby Trees. In our startups last 3 weeks, around 14, 14-9, 14-11, 13-2. Obviously, 2 guys I'm bringing you that are older, that are probably, getting into that peak. Roberto Woods just tore his ACL this past year, is a Super Bowl champion now. I think he will continue going in the 13, 14, 15 rounds. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go higher.
I don't think he's going to go higher. And I think the biggest reason why he won't go higher, because we don't know what's going to happen with OBJ. If OBJ does come back, then I think he will stay there. But if OBJ leaves, I do believe he could go a little bit higher. Maybe he will sneaks into the 10th, 11th round, maybe even 9th round, just depending on how your team is going. But why not get a guy in a wide receiver 4 or 5 in team with a wide receiver 2 potential? Okay, Roberto Woods has been that. From weeks 1 to 9 before the injury, he was wide receiver 12, averaging 15 points per game. That was when Cooper Kupp was going crazy as well. 7 targets per game as well, averaging 7 targets per game. If Woods did not get hurt and continued with those 15 points per game, he would have finished wide receiver 12. A top 12 wide receiver. 2 guys, Cooper Kupp and Roberto Woods, would have went crazy.
We just don't know what it looks like with OBJ.
Exactly. And the biggest thing is that we don't even know if OBJ is going to be back. If he is back, I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. It just so happened that Robert Woods gets injured. OBJ was like, I'm leaving. And they signed OBJ. It was just perfect timing for this whole team and this whole scenario. But why not pick up a guy that can contribute to your team? Robert Woods is a guy that we all love. I love Roberto Woods. I mean, look, wide receiver 2 potential. If he stays healthy, OBJ is gone. There is some potential for you to get some value there. I would say a good flex. If somebody's injured, whatever the case may be, plug in Roberto Woods. I think it's perfect. It's straight to the point, honestly.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what value, like what round you have to get him. But I would be open to it. Just depends on what round. And, if you have that information of OBJ before you do the draft or not, it's going to help you determine.
Yeah. And I think we will find out if OBJ is with the Rams or not soon. This team is going to be old until Matthew Stafford and all these guys are saying, you know what, I'm done. they're all going to retire at the same time. Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp.
I think
Robert
Stafford's
Woods.
probably going to out. I think some of these guys are on an earlier timeline, but yeah.
I find it funny. Like, say, all right, guys, maybe we did back to back. I'm retiring now.
Well, whenever the Rams do finish this, it's going to be a complete rebuild. I think that's
No doubt
sure.
about it. No doubt.
All right, let us know. Do you like any of these startup sleepers? Comment down below.
Yo, what's good?
What
Thanks
up?
for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
Watch
Now,
it.
You can also subscribe
Right now.
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.